10 Mysterious Islands from Folklore. Number 1, Atlantis. While most of the islands on this list have been dismissed as mere fictions, there are still those today who will proclaim a belief in Atlantis. Atlantis, Plato the philosopher tells us, was a mighty island and civilization in the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlanteans were half-divine people living on a rich island. They were incredibly powerful, but not powerful enough to save themselves. He describes how the island was sunk by an earthquake and fire sent by the gods to punish their misdeeds. Number 2, St. Brendan's Travels. St. Brendan was a 6th century Irish monk and is known to history as the navigator for his habit of travelling. It is known that he voyaged to many of the smaller islands to be found around Britain, where monastic communities were gathering. A later story has Brendan visiting islands of an entirely different type. Number 3, Antillia. Antillia, to be found somewhere in the far west of the Atlantic, was known as the Isle of Seven Cities. When Spain fell to Muslim invaders from North Africa in 714, the legend of Antillia tells how 7 bishops fled with their followers to this island beyond the sea. Their ship eventually made it to the island, and the 7 bishops all split up to create their own cities. Hence, the Isle of Seven Cities. Number 4, the Simple Guards. The ancient Greeks were keen sailors, and it is unsurprising that many of their myths feature islands with incredible features. To a boat moving with the tides and winds, it must sometimes have seemed as if the rocks were out to get you. In the case of the Simple Guards, they actually were. Number 5, Tanannog. The west coast of Ireland boasts an unusual number of mythological islands. One that many people would love to visit is Tanannog, the Isle of Eternal Youth. There is no sickness, no pain, and no hunger on the island. Mead and beer flow, and everyone is happy. Hangovers also apparently do not occur. Number 6, Isle of Demons. The Isle of Demons should perhaps consider changing its name if it wants to encourage tourism. Though given what is said to lurk there, perhaps they don't. It also makes a terrible honeymoon destination, as a young bride named Marguerite was to find out. Number 7, Bayan. In Slavic folklore, the island of Bayan is a sort of paradise. It is home to the sun and the winds and is the island from which all weather comes. Seeds from every plant in the world can be found there. Unfortunately for those searching for this heaven on earth, the island of Bayan has a habit of disappearing and reappearing at random. Number 8, Floating Island of Redesmere. Redesmere is a 0.8 kilometer long, half a mile, lake in England that once apparently contained a floating island. How it came to float about is part of local legend. A young knight whose family owned the land the lake sits in suspected his fair lady of cheating on him. He swore that he would not talk to her again until the island in the middle of the lake floated away. Number 9, Hebrusel. Before Brazil was known to Europeans, there was Hebrusel, an island to the west of Ireland. Hebrusel was shown on nautical maps for centuries before finally being removed from charts in the 1860s. Irish legend had long talked about lands to the west which intrepid voyagers had found, but Hebrusel was their most enduring myth. Number 10, Avalon. King Arthur, legendary king of the Britons, was much like the modern crop of British royals. He had marital troubles. When he discovered his queen was having an affair with Sir Lancelot, he pursued the naughty knight to France. While Arthur was out of the kingdom, it was taken over by the nefarious Mordred. On Arthur's return, a battle was fought to regain Britain. In the fight, Mordred was slain, but Arthur was mortally wounded. He was placed on a barge, which took him from our world and deposited him on the magical Isle of Avalon.